Alrighty, everybody, it is 10 a.m. exactly, which means that it is just about time to be starting our program. And it looks like everybody answered the poll question. So the poll question was, what is a prospector? Is it somebody who searches for new lands, a person that rides horses for a living, or a person who searches for minerals such as gold? So I'm going to end the polling right now. And it looks like mostly everybody knows that a prospector is somebody who searches for minerals such as gold. Prospectors are really important if we're talking especially about California history. You might have heard of the 49ers, not the sports team, but the 49ers are actually people who came to California in 1849 to search for gold. So let's end that one. And then I also have another poll question for everybody. We will have some people joining maybe a little late, but that's completely fine. We have another poll question. This question asks, if you were living in the Wild West, what would you want your job to be? Would you want to be a horse trainer, a farmer, a sheep herder, a cowboy, or a cowgirl, or a sheriff? Let me know by voting in the poll. And if you just joined us, please make sure that you're putting your name and your age in the chat just so that we can all know. Okay, I see that a lot of people have voted. We have maybe about 3 people who still have not, 2 people who have not voted yet. This is also the perfect time if you'd like to go get a glass of water, or get a snack, or if you just woke up to go eat some breakfast. All right, that only took a minute, and it looks like most everybody has answered the poll. And let's see, okay, now it has been a full minute, so I'm going to end the polling, and I'm going to share the results with everybody. So it looks like a lot of people were mixed. Some people would rather be farmers. Some people would be sheep herders. Maybe you could even be both of those at the same time. Some people wanted to be a cowboy or a cowgirl. That was the most popular one. It got 3 votes. And then 1 person wanted to be a sheriff. Super cool. Thank you, everybody. Let me put that away. So everybody, welcome. Today we are doing the Wild West and Early California program, and I'm really excited that you're all here today with me virtually. My name is Miss Brittany. I'm the Museum Education Coordinator here at the Guild Museum of Arcadia Heritage, and I am joined today by Kimberly. She is the Museum Education Intern here at the museum. Say hi, Kimberly. There's Kimberly. You could see her with her purple nail polish. I'm going to put everybody in gallery view so that we could see everybody. All right, excellent. Thank you to everybody who answered the polls. I just think it's really fun to start with some poll questions in the morning. This program is going to be about an hour, so if you need to go to the restroom, get a snack, get a glass of water, you are perfectly okay to do so, and you do not have to ask me for permission, okay? You could just do it whenever you need. If you have any questions, there's a Q&A button at the very bottom of the screen. You can put all of your questions there, and Miss Kimberly or I we will try to answer it as quick as we can to the best of our knowledge. If you have a comment or if you're having an issue, you can put it in the chat, and we will definitely see that also. You should have also, or your parents should have picked up some kits from the Guild Museum. Those kits have a lot of cool items that we're actually going to be using in this program. If you haven't picked up the kit, you can call the museum and we can help you pick those up. I'll put the museum's phone number in the chat, just so that you can call, or you could have your parents call so you could pick up your kits if you have not already done so. But let's take out those kits because we are going to get started. So first we're going to learn about kind of the Wild West and how Southern California fits into the Wild West. So long ago, before this was Arcadia, or known as Southern California, did you know that this region that we actually live in right now used to be part of Mexico, and it was known as Alta California? But in 1848, Mexico ceded, and the state of California was formed and became part of the United States. So that's a really cool part of California's history. And in the early years of California, even though we were part of the United States, that did not mean that there were a lot of laws going around. It's very wild, very, very Western. And a lot of people, they kind of took the law into their own hands. And that brings us to our very first activity. We're going to make wanted posters. So in your kit, you should be able to find a wanted poster, and it looks like this. Miss Kimberly is also showing it on the other screen. So let's go grab that. In the box, you're going to want to draw somebody. You can draw yourself, or you could draw somebody else, somebody who you think would be wanted in the Wild West. The reward for your capture is $100, and make sure that at the very bottom line, you're writing your name. So at the very bottom, I'm going to write Miss Brittany. And you can use any writing implement. You could use a pencil, a pen, a crayon, a marker. I'm using a marker pen just so that everybody can see what I'm writing. And Miss Kimberly, she's actually using a crayon. So I'm going to draw myself. I'm not the best artist, but you know what? The most important thing is trying. And we're going to take it slow just so that everybody is able to follow along. I like to draw my people wearing glasses because, as you can see, I wear glasses. And remember, you need to draw yourself. Like, what would you look like if you were living in the Wild West? And I think I'm actually going to take out my crayons to help me draw. And you should all have crayons in your packets. And if you're missing part of your packets, your kits, you can let us know by calling the phone number, and we would be happy to provide anything to you that you may need. And if you don't want to draw yourself, that's completely fine. You can draw maybe a pet that you have. You can be really funny. You could draw a friend. Oh, Gabby asked a question. What is in the kit? The kit that you should have picked up, or your parents should have picked up from the Guild Museum, it has some papers in it, and it has all the items that you will need to complete this craft. If you don't have the kit, that's completely fine. You can call the phone number that I put in the chat, and you can pick one up from the Guild Museum. You can definitely pick them up today. We have a lot in the museum. I'm not the best at drawing. So this is me. I tried to draw me with my glasses and the middle part in my hair. And Miss Kimberly, oh, she is adding so much color to her wanted poster. I think it's really funny because we are both smiling in our wanted posters. Gabby, if you have the wrong kit, you can have your parents call that phone number and they could pick up the correct one at the museum. For everybody else who has finished their wanted posters, I would love to see what they look like. So I'm going to put my email in the chat so you can send me your pictures of your wanted posters, because I would definitely love to see them. And I think Miss Kimberly would like to see them too. Okay. So as everybody's finishing up their wanted posters, I'm going to talk about the agriculture and the animals. So after gold was discovered in California in 1848, a lot of people came to California from around the world, so not even from the other parts of the United States. We also have a lot of people coming from other countries, so things like China, and a lot of them, they took part in agriculture. So agriculture is the cultivation of the soil, the production of crops, and the raising of livestock. And a lot of people, they raise sheep and cows and other animals alongside crops. A lot of people, they grew things like apples and pears, figs, plums, oranges, grapes, peaches, pomegranates, and more. There's so many things that they were doing. So what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to take part in some agriculture. But unfortunately, because we're doing all this virtual, we're going to be doing it with paper. So in your kits, you should have 2 pages called Choose Your Crops. So everybody, let's find the Choose Your Crops pages, and Kimberly is going to be showing it to everybody. There she goes. Excellent. And what we're going to do today is we are going to cut out some of these crops. And this page with the fruits and the other things, it has 9, but our next page, the page with our farm, it only has 6 slots. So that means that out of all of the 9 crops, you can only choose 6 that you can actually grow. So Miss Kimberly is going to demonstrate and she is going to choose her 6 crops. And then I'm going to choose some crops too. Hopefully you have a really good pair of scissors. If you need help with scissors, you could definitely ask a parent, a grandparent, or an older sibling. And you should also find a glue stick that is in your kit. And I chose 9 crops for this project that were commonly grown in Southern California. And you could choose any of the ones that you like the best. And Miss Kimberly is doing an excellent job of demonstrating for all of us. This is just reminding me that sometimes I do not know how to use scissors and cut in a straight line, but that's okay. My motto is that the best thing that we can do is just try our best. And if you're having trouble picking some crops, you can think, what are some that you would like to eat? Or what are some that go into your favorite foods and desserts? I'm gonna definitely pick apples because one of the favorite things that I like to eat is apple pie. And then I also think that I would need wheat to make my apple pie. So I could grind that wheat into flour. And then I think I'm also going to choose walnuts because I love walnuts. Walnuts, they go great in bread. I like to eat mine in my oatmeal in the morning. Walnuts are actually one of the foods that is actually native to Southern California. And people, sometimes they use walnut shells to dye fabric. And as we are all participating in this, I actually have another poll for everybody. And so you can take your time with this one because I think it's going to go a little slowly. But I would love for you to all to tell me what crops you chose on your farm. This is multiple choice, so you can choose many of them because obviously we're all going to be choosing more than one. But let's see, what are the most popular things that everybody is choosing? Oh, okay. It looks like oranges are really popular. Apples are really popular. Oh, I chose apples too. I'm gluing mine to my farm. Okay. Oh, some people, they chose like apricots, grapes, lemons, walnuts. I think lemons are a really great one. I don't know about everybody here, but I actually grew up with a lemon tree in my backyard. So I love things like lemonade and lemon bars. It's really good. Lemons are always really good for cooking too. It looks like Miss Kimberly, she chose wheat, apples, grapes, corn. Oh, and figs. Interesting move, Miss Kimberly. I don't know if all of you heard, but Miss Kimberly said that she really loves figs. Wow, it looks like the most popular thing that almost everybody voted for was oranges. Oranges is a really good one. It's great as juice. It's great as a snack. And then I have oranges on here, but I think I'm also going to choose lemon. I know that they're both a citrus, but I think they're both a really good citrus. It looks like almost everybody has voted. I think we're waiting on maybe 2 more people, but feel free to take your time. I'm definitely going slow myself, but that's okay. I think I am going to choose, do I want corn or grapes for my last one? I don't know. I think I will go with corn because I love cornbread. I think cornbread is a really good snacking bread. So when you're finished with your crops, your page should look like this. And you can all see Miss Kimberly's too. Miss Kimberly chose wheat, apples, walnuts, grapes, corn, and figs. I chose apples, oranges, walnuts, wheat, lemons, and corn. So I think me and Miss Kimberly, let me think. Oh, okay. Our only difference is that I chose lemons, she chose grapes, and then I also chose oranges. But we're all different, and that's completely fine. And we all have different likes and dislikes, and it's all good. And as you may have heard me say before in other programs, what we also need to do is make sure that we have trash, like our extra 3 crops. We need to make sure that we are throwing them away. We also want to make sure that our places are completely clean because it's never really good to make too big of a mess. And I believe that everybody has chosen all of their crops. Oh no, I think we're waiting on maybe one more person. Okay, I see. The last person did vote, and I think that we should be good. If anybody is still working on their crops, you can definitely let me know in the chat. And if you ever need to tell me to slow down, that's completely fine. Let me know. I don't mind slowing down at all. Of course, it's just a little harder because I cannot see everybody's face, but if you put it in the chat, I'll definitely take a look. So I'm going to end the polling and I'm going to share the results. So if you can see, it looks like a lot of people voted for oranges. That was the most popular thing that everybody chose. After that, it looks like we have a tie between lemons and corn. After that, it's grapes and apples. 5 people chose wheat. I chose wheat too, so that's cool. And then let's see, 3 people chose apricots. And one person chose figs, but Miss Kimberly did not vote. So there were actually 2 people that chose figs. So you're not alone, whoever chose figs. And this has some glue on it. So let's make sure that we are putting this to the side so that it can completely dry. Oh, and I have a little more trash. Let me put this over here as well, just so that I'm keeping my area safe, or my area clean too. Next, we are going to start looking at some animals. So there are a lot of animals that were raised in old California, especially in the ranchos. So ranchos were kind of like just big ranches. They're really big farms. A lot of ranchos, they raised a lot of things like cattle, sheep, pigs. So we're going to look at all of the different animals that were raised in the ranchos. And we're going to be specifically looking at 2 today. So in your kit, you should be able to find a white handprint and a brown handprint. And they look like these. And Miss Kimberly has them on the other screen as well. And we are going to be making these into sheep and horses. So also in your kits, you're going to need to grab your glue stick again. And you're going to need this little baggie in your kit. It has some like cotton balls. It has some other parts. So let's empty those out so that we can have all of our parts. Today we're going to be making 2 different kinds of animals that were raised on ranchos very commonly. One is going to be a horse and one is going to be a sheep. And I think I want to start with the horse first. So you need your brown handprint. I think this is actually Kimberly's hand. I think she modeled this hand for us. So that's much like Kimberly's hand. What you need to do is you need to find 2 small brown parts in your little baggies. One kind of looks like a U with a cutout part on the top, and then the other one kind of looks like almost like a teardrop shape. And you are going to glue the head. This is the head of your horse, and you're going to glue it to your brown handprint. And Miss Kimberly is going to demonstrate for us on the other screen. Oh, and there's a question. Let me take a look. Oh, you don't have the hands? All right, if you do not have parts of your kit, you should definitely call a museum and we can replace them for you. And Miss Kimberly, are you answering her or would you like me to answer? I'll answer while you go. So make sure that you're gluing the head of your horse to the part of the hand that is the thumb, Kimberly's thumb. And that you're gluing the tail to the other end of your horse. And you also should have 4 googly eyes in your bag. Googly eyes. So we're going to use 2 for our horse, and we need to save 2 for our other animal. And since we're working on the horse's face, we should also give them a personality. I think I'm going to make my horse smile. Horses are still a really big deal here in Arcadia. And they've been in this area for a long time. You might see the Santa Anita racetrack that's very close to where we are. And Gabby, I see your question. You should have a brown hand and a white hand. And if you don't, remember you can call the Guild Museum and we can give you all of the missing parts. These kits were put together by some of the museum's teenagers. So if you're missing parts, I'm so sorry. But we will definitely help you out. Before I was talking about the horses in this area, a lot of people think that Lucky Baldwin was the first person to bring horses to this area, but actually the first person to bring horses was this man named Joseph A. Rowe. He was actually a circus performer, and he used to have a trick where he would actually stand in the saddle on a horse. Oh, Gabby, I'm so happy that you found your brown hen. It just fell on the floor. Happens all the time. I'm glad that you found it. And here I have my horse. I think Miss Kimberly's looks a little cuter than mine. I was trying to draw the horse's face, but I think I accidentally made it look like they're crying. My bad, but that's okay. So let's put our little horse to the side. And next, we need to find the white hand. Boom. Now this hand is actually going to be a sheep. So you should have your hand, you should be able to find your sheep head, and then you should have some cotton balls. And you should also have 2 googly eyes remaining. And Miss Kimberly is going to demonstrate on the other screen how to put together your sheep. She's such a good demonstrator. I hope that we all can show appreciation to Miss Kimberly because she does a fantastic job. And your head of your sheep is going to go on the part that's like the thumb, and then your cotton balls are going to function as the furry wool on your sheep. And you might have a lot of cotton balls. They might not all fit, but that's okay. You might even have some cotton balls at home, so you can use those also if you feel like you don't have enough. My cotton ball got a little prematurely stuck. And don't worry about your sheep turning purple. I know that a lot of, oh, my glue is purple. Kimberly's is white though. If you have the purple glue, don't worry about it. It does not dry very, very purple. And I think I actually have 1 cotton ball extra. I could not fit them all onto my sheep. This is what mine looks like. Very, very woolly. If you need help doing any of these activities, it's completely fine to ask somebody to help you. And if you don't have anybody around you right now, you could always stop by the museum and I would love to do these activities with you in person. When you are finished gluing all of your cotton balls and making your sheep's wool, you need to also make sure that, much like with the horse, you're adding your googly eyes and giving them a face. Okay, and I glued my googly eye to my hand. Alrighty, and then I'm going to give my sheep a smile. So you probably see Miss Kimberly's on the other screen. This is what my sheep looks like. And feel free to take your time. I don't want to rush anybody. If you'd like me to see your sheep and your horse and even your crops page, I would love to see them. So make sure you take a picture and email it to me, and I will put your email or my email in the chat one more time just so that it doesn't get lost. I think I'm going to name my horse Bradley, and I think I'm going to name my sheep Woodrow Sheepson. What do you think, Miss Kimberly? Yeah.
My horse is going to be Pablo.
Okay, so her horse, for all of you who can't hear, is going to be Pablo.
And my sheep is going to be Maria.
Her sheep is named Maria. I'm going to write that down. So Pablo, Maria. And then my name is Woodrow Sheepson and Bradley. If you have any funny names to your horse and your sheep, let me know. I would love to hear. I'll put them in the chat while everybody is working. So mine is Bradley and Woodrow Sheepson, and then Kimberly, Pablo, and Maria. And just so that we're keeping our areas clean, let's make sure we have our farm animals go off. They could go with your other farm where you put your crops. And then you should also have a bag. If you have any extra cotton balls, you can keep them in there so that you are keeping your entire area clean. And if any of you needs me to slow down, make sure you're also letting me know. Oh, Valerie named her sheep Wooly, and the horse's name is Brownie. I love it. Oh, and I'm a huge horse lover. You might see that my shirt actually has horses on it today. I had to dress up for the Wild West program. Now we're going to be thinking about ranchers and ranchos. So in the year 1841, which is many years ago, there was a man named Hugo Reid who was born in Scotland, and he was actually the first person to purchase Rancho Santa Anita. So Rancho Santa Anita was this big chunk of land before California, before the city of Arcadia existed. And this area, this rancho actually used to encompass not only what is now Arcadia, but the cities of Pasadena, San Marino, Monrovia, Sierra Madre. So it was a really big amount of land. And Hugo Reid, he took all this land and he grew many crops such as peaches and lemons and pomegranates, oranges. He's actually the person who is credited for inventing the Valencia orange. So if you ever go to the grocery store and you see a Valencia orange, you can thank Hugo Reid. Oh, Valerie, I see that your Chinese animal is a horse. Thank you for letting me know. I think that that's really cool. But going back to Rancho Santa Anita, the ranchos, they were mainly cattle farms. So they grew a lot of cattle, so cows. And there were many ranchos that were in this area. So there was Rancho Azusa, Rancho Cucamonga, which is still known today as Rancho Cucamonga. And a lot of people, they had cattle, but this was a time before fences existed. So let's think about fences. You might have a fence in your backyard or in your front yard, but In 1841, fences didn't really exist yet. And if this area was encompassing all of Arcadia and Pasadena, Sierra Madre, and Monrovia, and Temple City, to put a fence around that would probably be really expensive. So they didn't have fences. So all these people with their cows would mix together. And so what they would do to tell their cows apart was to have a special design on their cows so that they could be able to identify them. Oh, and Ashwini, your horse is Javier and your sheep is, oh, sorry, Divya. Your horse is Javier and your sheep is Cubby. I love that. Very good. Make sure you're sending me pictures. I love to see pictures of everybody's stuff. But let's think today about cattle brand. So there were always these really special symbols, and everybody's had to be completely different. The first group in this area to have a cattle brand was Mission San Gabriel. And you might have seen Mission San Gabriel. The San Gabriel Mission still exists in the city of San Gabriel, so it's really close to here. And this is what their symbol looked like, and I'll pass it to Miss Kimberly so she could show it to all of you. They had a brand that was a combination of the letter T and the letter S, which is the first and last letters of the word temblores, which is a Spanish word for earthquakes, because they noticed that there's a lot of earthquakes that take place in this area. We also have the cattle brand from Hugo Reid, the first person to purchase Rancho Santa Anita. His cattle brand looks like the number 4 mixed with the number 5. And that's because he was given full title to Rancho Santa Anita in the year 1845. We also have the cattle brand of, oops, mine got out of order, Albert and Thomas Dibley, and theirs looks like the letter D, like Dibley, with a plus sign in it. Next, we have the cattle brand of Joseph A. Rowe, the first person to bring horses to Arcadia. Oh, it's stuck to the table. And so Joseph A., so he has the letter A, and then Rowe, so he has the letter R. So you can see the letter A and the letter R together. This was his cattle brand because he wanted to model it after his middle name and his last name. And then there's also Harris Newmark. And so his cattle brand looked like an H for Harris and then the letter N for Newmark. So that was his. And then we also have the cattle brand of Henry Dalton. Henry Dalton's is a little different. Everybody else's was based after a letter or a series of letters like Harris Newmark or Henry Dalton or Albert Dibley. But this one is kind of more like a symbol. So he was going in a very different direction, but that's okay. Today we are actually going to be making our own cattle brands. So let's think of something that you would like to make your cattle brand after. It could be a year, so maybe how old you are or the year you were born. It could be a letter, so it could be something like your initials. My initials are BA, so I could do BA if I really wanted to. Or you could do a shape, and there are many shapes out there. Henry Dalton's, his kind of looks like, I don't even know how you would describe it. Kind of like the letter Y upside down a little bit. So let's think about what we would want our cattle brands to look like. And to make our cattle brands, what you're going to need is these pipe cleaners. You should have 4 pipe cleaners in your kit. You will also need a paper plate. You should have a little cup of black paint. And then you're also going to need a piece of white cardstock. And you should all have a piece of cardstock in your kit. Cardstock is a little bit like paper, but it's really thick. So we're going to use all of these to make our cattle brands. If you would like to sketch out what your cattle brand will look like, you can do it on your paper really quickly. To actually make your cattle brand, you need to take your 4 pipe cleaners, and you should all have 4. If you don't have 4, you can let me know. And we're going to take 2 of our pipe cleaners and then put the others away for now. I'll use these ones. And you're going to use these 2 pipe cleaners to make your symbol. So Kimberly, you can see on her screen, hers is going to be the letter K in a heart. So she'll probably use 1 pipe cleaner to make the heart, and then the other pipe cleaner to make the letter K. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to attempt to make the letter B for Brittany. I don't know how well I'll do, but we'll have to see how it goes. And this is a little bit of a complex activity, so if you need help from a parent, I definitely recommend that you ask them right now. Or if you have a grandparent, if you have an older sibling or a cousin with you, you can also ask them. Okay, I'm trying really hard to make my letter B. So here's my letter B. It kind of looks like glasses a little bit. And you can see Kimberly, she is making her heart. It is red right now. So I'm going to do the letter B, and I think I want it to be in a circle. So let me see how I can do that. Thankfully, pipe cleaners, they fit really well together, and you can also bend them any way that you need to. They're very, very nice and bendy. Okay, so I put mine together. Mine looks like the letter B in a circle, but for some reason my circle does not want to stay. It's okay. Miss Kimberly is working really hard on her K in a heart. Beautiful. Excellent, Miss Kimberly. You're doing excellent. And remember, if you want to show me your cattle brands after this, I would love to see your cattle brands. Everybody's cattle brand should be different. That's the way that it always has been. People don't really use cattle brands anymore. There's other ways that we can mark cows. And also, fences have been invented now. So people usually, I think, rely on fences to keep all their cows together to prevent them from mixing. Nice, Kimberly. I love your letter K in the heart. So she has the letter K in the heart. I have the letter B in a circle. Now we need to take our other 2 pipe cleaners. So you should still have 2 pipe cleaners that are available. And you need to attach them to opposite sides. So you can attach it here and here, or here and here. So I'm going to attach mine to the top of my letter B and then the bottom. And so you should have something that kind of looks like your cattle brand with some antenna. And remember, you can always let me and Miss Kimberly know if you need us to slow down. And you can see Miss Kimberly, she's attaching her pipe cleaners to opposite ends of her cattle brand. And now when you have your two parts sticking up, you need to actually bring them together, and then you're going to twist, and this is actually going to make the handle of your cattle brand. Oops, I'm so sorry, I hit my microphone, my bad. And twisting it takes a while. That's okay. We're not going anywhere. And so you should have something that looks a little like this. Cattle brand. Cattle brands were usually not made out of pipe cleaners. They were usually made by a blacksmith out of iron. Sometimes people use cattle brands today, sometimes, but usually they'll put it in something like wood as decoration. And then, of course, Arcadia and Rancho Santa Anita, they have a long legacy of using cattle brands. Lucky Baldwin, who was the last person to own Rancho Santa Anita, he did not actually have a cattle brand. He was more into raising horses, so not cows. Oh, and Miss Kimberly, she is done making the handle of her cattle brand. And I know that it looks a little funny right now, but this is your cattle brand. Oh, bye, Divya. I see that you're leaving early. Bye. Now for our cattle brands, what we're going to do is we're going to take this paper plate and we're going to drop our paint in our plate. And everybody should have a little black cup of paint. And you're probably going to want to spread it around a little bit. You can actually use your cattle brand to do it. Or if you have a paintbrush nearby, you can do that too. You can use your fingers. I don't really want to get my hands too dirty. And you're going to hold your cattle brand by your handle, and you're actually going to dip it in the paint. And when you're done dipping it in the paint, you're going to immediately press it on your cardstock, and you're not going to put it anywhere else, just so that we're not getting paint everywhere. Thankfully, if you do, this is washable tempera paint. Or actually, no, this is actually acrylic paint. I'm so sorry, I said that wrong. This is acrylic paint, so we do not want to touch it anywhere. So once you have a lot of black paint on your cattle brand, you are going to take it, press it. I see that we have a question. Let me take a look. Oh, you don't have the paint, Anne? You can pick up some paint here at the Guild Museum. We have so much extra if you need it. And Miss Kimberly, as you can see, she's dipping her cattle brand in her paint. And then she is going to do the job of pressing her cattle brand into her paper. I'm doing that too. If you feel that not all parts of your cattle brand are touching the paper, you can definitely press down with your fingers. You want to make sure that all the surfaces of your cattle brand with the paint are touching the paper. And then when you are finished, you can grab your cattle brand by the handle, have one hand on your paper, and you can pull it off. And then you're going to set your cattle brand on your paper plate so you're not getting paint anywhere, because it still should have a little bit of paint on it. And so you can see Miss Kimberly's, you can see her cattle brand, her letter K in the heart, and then here's mine. Mine is the letter B in a circle. This is my cattle brand. And then what you can definitely do is take a crayon or a marker, and you can write my cattle brand. Or you could put your name. So I would put Miss Brittany's cattle brand. and there's mine. Brittany's cattle brand. And there's my brand. If you have more pipe cleaners, you can make a whole bunch of cattle brands, and you can try this again. I've done it several times. It's one of my favorite activities that I do here at the Guild Museum with kids. If you want to do it with me in person, come to the Guild Museum while we're open. We're usually open from 10 a.m. to 4 from Tuesdays through Saturdays, although we do take a lunch from 12 to 1. So let me eat lunch and then we can make cattle brands. When you are finished pressing your cattle brand to your paper, I suggest that you, if you want to keep your cattle brand, you should have it dry somewhere so that the paint can't get anywhere. And you can use your cattle brand again and again. It is definitely reusable, but you should definitely throw away your plate with your paint on it because you don't want anything to fall in that paint and get ruined. So I'm going to put mine to the side. And remember, if you want to send me pictures of your cattle brand, you definitely can. I'll put my email again in the chat so that everybody can see it. And that is actually our last activity for the Wild West and Early California program. If anybody has any questions, Ms. Kimberly and I, we will be sticking around until about 11. So feel free to stick around with us. If not, you are all completely fine to keep going. Or to go on. I said that's so funny. You're completely fine to go. You're all dismissed. Go enjoy your weekend. If you don't have anything to do, I definitely encourage you to check out the Guild Museum. We are open today until 4. If not, check out the Olympics. The Olympics, they started yesterday. They had their opening ceremony, and I think that would be pretty cool. If you have any questions, you could put them in the chat or the Q&A section. But aside from that, you're all good to go.